esteem and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. John chapter 5 and verse 39. I guess I ought to drop that in the. I guess you actually do hear that number when you call them.
Easy. Let's see with more. Easy, I have to see with more. Easy. Easy. I'll be right back. No, you see the paper in there?
It's all right. It says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you shall receive. How can you believe which seek honor one of another, and not seek the honor that come from Elohim only? So the first place that we're going to venture before we even begin to look at Naboth and Ahab and Jezebel is Deuteronomy chapter 19, and we're going to get a good inkling to what this man did. You need to get your 1 Kings 21 and 2 Kings chapter 9 for these stories for their corresponding locations. Deuteronomy chapter 19 and verse 14. We're going to look at a place in the law of which this man violated, and then we're going to read the story. So you're going to get what he violated before you even see what went down, because most of you should be familiar with the story, and if you're not, you shall get familiar with it. It says, thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they have set of old time, have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that Yahuwah thy Elohim give thee to possess it. When you look at that landmark, it's just referring to the inheritance. You can't take anybody's portion or possession in the land from them. That's a no. You can't do that. So basically, if Will's got a possession in the land, I can't come through and take that. Nobody can take it. See, in America, they have something called eminent domain. So if there's a quote-unquote state or federal project that needs to be done, then the state can take your land. They have to give you equal value for said land, but they can take it. They don't care how you got it. They don't care who bequeathed it. None of that means absolutely nothing to them. You know what I'm saying? Depending on certain situations and circumstances, people can take your land or property from you, depending on, like I say, certain situations and circumstances. We finna go to great detail in that. But in our society and in our culture and our land, that could not be done. If that area of land was given unto you by your fathers, and that was your right of possession when the land was divvied up at the time when Yahushua son of Nun brought the people into the land, and according to what Moses had divvied up to the people of the land, that could not be removed from you. So let's look at 1 Kings 21. Under no circumstance. You didn't have to take no money for it. You didn't have to be pressured into it. Nobody, the king couldn't take it. And this is why Ahab was upset. See, we'll come back and look at 1 Kings chapter 20. Y'all with it later on this week. But we're going to go ahead and knock out this story with Naboth real quick. Like 1 Kings 21. It came to pass that after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. So this vineyard is right by the king's palace. King feel like he ought to let him get that. And the Naboth name means fruits, and it's quite ironic that he has a vineyard next to the king's palace. Nevertheless, and Ahab spoke unto Naboth, saying, give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it's near unto my house. And I will give thee a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. So Ahab went about it the proper way how it's supposed to be done. He offered him a better vineyard in his estimation, or he offered him money for it. Continuing on. Naboth said to Ahab, Yahuwah forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. This man say, Elohim say, no. Yah say, no if I give it to you. Now, some people sit back and think if the king sets that and he makes this, come over here to Numbers 36. Look at about verse 5 or verse 4. And we'll look at this here, right? So, even though some people feel like if somebody's in rulership or in power, that they can have that bit of authority to muscle this man out of what belongs to him. But that's not the case when it comes to Yahuwah. Yahuwah does not have any respect of persons. So he could care less if it was king or whoever. You don't have to give that up if you don't want to get that up. Numbers 36 and 3. If they be married to any of the sons of other tribes of the children of Yasharal, then shall their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put into the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received, shall be taken from the lot of our inheritance. And when the jubilee of the children of Yasharal shall be, then shall their inheritance be put out unto the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. Now this is the situation with the Zelophehad's daughters. And they talking about what if their daddy dies and has no sons and things of that nature, where his inheritance goes. So Moses commanded the children of Yasharal according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph has said, well, this is the thing which Yahuwah doth command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Yasharal remove from tribe to tribe, for every one of the children of Yasharal shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. Now the reason why this is important is this. Well, we'll keep on reading here, see the next thing. Every daughter that possesseth inheritance in any tribe of the children of Yasharal shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Yasharal may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Yasharal shall keep himself to his own inheritance. What he is stating is this. If you want, and it goes towards the end of it, towards the end of the chapter. Zelophehad daughters are from the tribe of Joseph. So what's being stated is let's say their father dies without a son. They have to marry a man from the tribe of Joseph or Manasseh, so that inheritance doesn't transfer. Let's say if they marry a man from the tribe of Benjamin or Asher, then that lot of inheritance would transfer over to her husband's tribe. So therefore, a parcel of land that should belong to Joseph now belongs to Benjamin, or now belongs to Naphtali, or now belongs to Reuben. So to remedy that fact and cause that not to happen, they have to marry a man from their father's tribe. Therefore, the land doesn't get switched around. A lot of dudes take this to believing that you can't intermarry within tribes, and that's not what that's telling you, because that's not in effect anymore. Even if you knew what tribe you were from, that's not even in effect anymore, because you're in the land of a stranger. You know what I'm saying? So you have no idea where your lot of inheritance of your land is for you to be talking about intermarrying someone from your own tribe. But that's what the purpose of this is for. This is why you see this when you come up with Naboth. He wants to purchase it. I mean, Ahab wants to purchase this from Naboth, but Naboth is not required to sell it to him. Plus, you have to sit back and look at, you don't want land to be mixing up between tribes. Y'all didn't want that. That causes confusion. So to cut the confusion down, that's why you don't do it. Come back to 1 Kings 21. 21 and 4. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased, because of the word of Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. And he said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat bread. Hello?
Hello.
Shalom. He said, but Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, why is thy ruach so sad that thou eat no bread? And he said unto her, because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, give me thy vineyard for money, or else if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. Now look at this wicked whore. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, dost thou now govern the kingdom of Yasharal? Arise and eat bread, and let thy heart be merry, and I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. Now, we know from the law in Deuteronomy 17, and clearly Ahab already knew this. This is why he was in the bed mad, throwing a tantrum. Probably knew that this wicked woman was going to come around and concoct a plan to do it anyway. He already knew that he wasn't supposed to take this man's vineyard. That man already knew what Deuteronomy 19 said, that you should not move the landmark or remove the inheritance of any of the children of thy people. He knew this. And he also knew that vineyards are not to be going from tribe to tribe. And yet when she told him that I will give you this vineyard, he did not stop her. And see, this is the part of his wickedness, because he already know this wrong. He supposed to told her, you can't take this man vineyard. You can't get me this man vineyard, because we cannot compel him to relinquish it. And this is the example. Acts chapter 5, this is an example of this type of play. Acts chapter 5 is the example of this type of play and the hallmark of a wicked and weak man. Acts chapter 5 and verse 1. But a certain man named Ananias with Sapphira his wife sold a possession, and he kept back part of the price, his wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why have Hashatan filled thy heart to lie to the Ruach HaKodesh and to keep back part of the price of the land? While it remained, was it not thy own? And after it was sold, was it not in thy own power? Why hast thou conceived this thing in thy heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto Elohim. So now you sit back and you look at it, right? And the reason why I'm going to state this right is here, right? In Leviticus, I want to say it's chapter 24, but somebody else will have to verify that, because I could be incorrect, that it's not chapter 24. Let me look and see if it's chapter 24 before we go any further. Let me see if it's 24. No, it's not 24. I have to find it. Let me find it. Yah tells you to never sell the land, because the land is his. Oh, I won't find that. Say the land is his, and you shall not sell the land forever, because you are strangers and sojourners with him. So everybody, every part of land that is divvied up as an inheritance, as we've seen in Numbers 36 and Deuteronomy chapter 19, Yah had ordained for those particular tribes and those particular people to have those particular portions, and that was theirs, and that's the part that he wanted them to have. So when Ahab may have not known what Jezebel was going to do, but he was privy that she was going to do something that was not just, because he already knew that Naboth did not have to give him that vineyard, and he had declined it. Now, that's pure speculation, but clearly with this man laying in the bed, not eating bread, pouting and sad, him already knowing that his wife had been killing the prophets of Yah, that it was nothing for her to go concoct some wicked plan and kill somebody. She's got a track record for it. And he was being what you would call passive aggressive toward Naboth, putting that out there because he didn't have the heart and will to go do what she did on his own. That he sent his wife to go do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you seeing here with these two, that there's a plan of concoction of wickedness, and the wife and the husband are privy to the wickedness, and they're complicit, and they rocking with that. And like he told him, you haven't lied to men, you lied to Elohim. You looking at Ahab and Jezebel, they thinking that they took from Naboth, they took from Elohim. They didn't take from Naboth. It was never Naboth's land to begin with. That land was bequeathed to him from Yah. Yah laid that inheritance. Who did he inherit the land from? He inherited it from Yah. So you didn't take from Naboth, you took from Yah. That's what he didn't clearly understand. See, I think sometimes when we do stuff, we sit back and you don't realize who you doing it against. Let me show you something. 1 Samuel chapter 1. Chapter 2, I should say. And we'll finish this Acts chapter 5. That's one of the reasons why that 1 Chronicles 16 tell you, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. That's why another thing where he say, he that despiseth not man, but Elohim. Because you thinking that you doing that to man, but you doing it to Yah, and you reaping coals of fire against your own soul. First Samuel chapter 2, about verse 27. He said, and there came a man of Elohim unto Eli, and he said unto him, thus saith Yahuwah, did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Mizraim in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Yasharal to be my priest, to offer upon my altar, to burn incense, to wear ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire the children of Yasharal? Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifice and my offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honor thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of Yasharal my people. And that's the same thing that you sit back and look at, that Ahab honored Jezebel above Yah. The same thing you seeing when you look at what Ananias and Sapphira did. You have to sit back and look at that type of stuff, because people do that type of stuff, don't even realize it, that the move that you making, you turning around and you honoring somebody above Yah, that is not good. In no shape, form, or fashion. Wherefore Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal saith, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father shall walk before me forever. But now Yahuwah saith, be it far from me, for them that honor me I will honor, and they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. This man say those that despise him, this man will lightly esteem them. Hold on, come over here to verse 25 in this same chapter. That's what I actually wanted. Look at verse 24 though. This is what Jezebel did with Ahab, which in turn what they did caused others to do it. And then these two with Ananias and Sapphira, they did that on their own. But this really going to go to Jezebel and Ahab. Make it 22. 1 Samuel 2 and 22. Now Eli was very old and heard all that his sons did unto all Yasharal, how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he said unto them, why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my son, for it is no good report that I hear you make Yahuwah's people to transgress. If one man sin against another, the judge shall judge him. But if a man sin against Yahuwah, who shall entreat for him? Notwithstanding, they hearken not unto the voice of their father, because Yahuwah will slay them. That's another thing too, right? No, he told you if a man sin against another, and most High willing, when we deal with the difference of the covenants, and we'll go through every, because we're gonna go through every single solitary law, every single solitary one. You know what I'm saying? Every single solitary one. And you have certain instances where you can sin against your brother, meaning you could transgress against your brother. Namely, say if he left you some goods, and then his goods were not there. You transgressed against your brother, so the judge would determine what you would have to recompense your brother for that transgression and the goods that you owed him, or if you did any damage to his cattle or anything of that nature. That's what he means when he says if a man sinned against another. There were certain things for that. Not saying, oh, you beat him up or you slept with his wife or things of that nature, because when you slept with his wife, you sinned against Yah. You just didn't sin against your brother. But that man said if you transgress against Yah, who gonna speak up on your behalf though? See, that none of your forefathers really sat back and realized and understood that there was nobody really to speak up on your behalf. That's why he asked that as a question. If you ask certain people who don't believe in Mashiach, ask them why would Eli say that? Who's going to speak on your behalf? Let's see who will speak on your behalf. 1 John chapter 2 verse 1 before we swing to Acts chapter 5. And also the other key point to look at is that Yah gave them, the Eli's sons, the heart not to listen. See, that goes back to when we were talking about how he declares a man's thoughts. Because they had not committed their works to Yahuwah, he had established their thoughts. And he established their thoughts to be hard-hearted and not to listen, because he had determined to kill them. And there was absolutely nothing they could do to change that. There was nothing that anyone could say to cause them to turn back or to say, you know what, I'm not going to live like this no more. They were marked for death. It was done. It was over with. He got tired of talking. That's the instances what we talking about. Like, you can't be running them up. See, Eli's sons knew. That's why another verse in that same chapter said the sins of Eli's house will not be purged with sacrifice or offering forever. Because these men were men of Levi, they were priests. You knew what the law said. You know the book. You know the truth. And you chose to do what you want to do. I'm good with you, nigga. I'm going to slay you. Because Eli was protesting heavily, son, why you do this? Why you do that? And you see what it said. He wouldn't cause them to listen. because he determined to slay them. That's why he say, he that despise him shall be lightly esteemed. When you despise this man's word to do your own way, that's why he say, he that despiseth Moses' law died without under 2 or 3 witnesses. He say, how much sore punishment suppose ye that trod under the foot of the covenant of the son of Elohim? What you think he gonna catch? The man's not gonna honor you with that. That's what the world got us all bent at and all type of stuff, man. Just thinking these people gonna honor you. First John chapter, well, he gonna honor you. 1 John chapter 2 verse 1. This man is not gonna honor you. He's not honoring that. He doesn't respect it. 1 John 2 and 1. My little children, these things write out unto you, that ye sin not. If any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Yahushua HaMashiach, the righteous. He is the propitiation for our sins, and not for ours only, but also for the sins of the whole world. Now, when you sit back and you look at an advocate who shall entreat, you know, y'all should know this. If your mind turning, you should think about like what Job did with his friends, or what Jeremiah did when the people came to him and he acted as a mediator and entreated on their behalf, or like what Moses did with the people in the wilderness and entreated on their behalf. You have an advocate if you do, but you got to make sure that you're not around here wild. He say if ye sin, you have an advocate. But just because you have an advocate does not necessarily mean that the Father will hearken to him on your behalf. You know what I'm saying? We have to make that clear. I can't tell you who he'll hearken for and who he won't hearken for. I cannot tell you that. But I can tell you that the book says if we sin willfully after receiving the knowledge of the truth, there is no sacrifice for sins. And we got 1 Samuel chapter 2 and the law to back that up. So you don't want to play with that to even test that or try your luck. Acts chapter 5. And the reason why I mention all that, because Ahab knew what time it was. You know what I'm saying? See, Jezebel had no law, so therefore she was going to perish without the law anyway. You know what I'm talking about? That wasn't going to change nowhere. She was a Canaanite. She ain't had no law. She was going to perish without it. She just wanted to be married to a brew, clearly. And clearly Ahab ain't care what he was married to. And they were around there this man slaughtering his own people for a strange woman. Ain't that something? This is a thing that don't make no sense to me. You say you in the word like Ahab is. You know what I'm saying? You know that the law tell you not to marry these people because they'll cause you to turn away from me. And Ahab surely did that. And you go in the world and you pull a sinner and then you sin with them and then think that you could convert them to Yah. That is a special kind of stupidity. You know what I'm talking about? A type of stupidity that you really cloaking your own desires and you're trying to use the word as a cloak for what you desire. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make any sense. Because it didn't work well for anybody in this word who went and pulled a transgressor. Not at all. I'm talking about to make them a mate. It didn't work out well for anyone in this book. Not one single solitary person. It didn't work out well for them. I have not read of any. Do you know what I'm saying? Anybody that pulled somebody who was not of our people, those people had a desire to serve Yah. They had a desire to do it. You know what I'm saying? Ruth had a desire to do that. These people that are some of these other people married that were not of our people, they had a desire to serve Yah. When you read about these people marrying strangers, these people were already living strange, and it caused them to live strange. That's why they put the people away in Nehemiah. They say, man, they running around here, can't even speak the Abarim's language. So you know it ain't but a matter of time before you assimilate to the culture of the people of whom you're marrying into. This is why he told you not to marry these people, because you're going to assimilate into their culture. This is what we see here in America. We have assimilated into their culture. So because you have assimilated into their culture, you take on their ways. That's why Proverbs 3 and 31 tell you don't envy your oppressor and choose none of his ways, because you begin to become jealous of these people. You want what they have. So to get what they have, you'll do what they do. That's why he told you don't learn the way of the heathen. It's going to be destructive for you. And that's what we done. We learn their ways. This is why you don't marry somebody who's, and I'm talking about, I don't care if they black or not. You can marry who you want to marry. You know what I'm saying? As far as nationality is concerned, I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? You the one got to live with them. But you ought to marry somebody who believes and loves and serves your God with the same passion, fervence, faith, and diligence that you do. You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense for you to grab somebody who you got to pull along. because they may pull you down if they don't match the level of faith that you at. That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? It's just going to end up being detrimental for both of you or one of you. And that's not good. You know what I'm saying? For your soul. You know what I'm saying? You have to make decisions based on your soul and not temporary feelings of a moment, because your soul is eternal. Your emotions are for a moment. You know what I'm saying? How you feel today, you may not feel next week. And we make decisions for our soul based on how we feel in a moment. In a moment. You don't need to make a decision on your soul for how you feel in a moment. Because that moment could lead you to being in the place where the worm dieth not and the fire shall not be quenched. For a moment. And that's not wise. Acts chapter 5. Hello? Acts 5. And 5. That's all I tell you. Just use wisdom. Because it's your life. You can do what you want to with it. And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ruach, and great fear came on all them that heard these things. And the young men arose and wound him up, and carried him out, and buried him. And it was about the space of 3 hours after, when his wife, not knowing what had done it, came in, and Peter answered unto her, Tell me whether you sold the land for such and such. And she said, Yes, for so much. Then Peter said unto her, How is it that you agreed together to tempt the ruach of Yahuwah? Behold, the feet of them which buried thy husband are at the door, and shall carry thee out. Now let's look at something in the law, Numbers 6 and 16. Because he told her she tempt the ruach. After we read Numbers 16, Numbers 6 and 16, I should say. Numbers 6 and 16. Dang, that's not it. It might be Deuteronomy 6. Make sure it's Deuteronomy 6 and 16. There it is. Deuteronomy 6 and 16. But we'll look at Deuteronomy 6 and 12. Deuteronomy 6 and 12. And after that, 1 Corinthians chapter 10. One thing you, and then also Matthew chapter 4. One thing you don't want to do, you don't want to never tempt Yah. Don't be one of them people that do that. It's a lot of people that do that. And we'll look at it and see what that means. But tempting Yah is not a wise thing to do. It definitely can get you taken out. And you have to go back and look at the story in Massa that we're about to read. And I think that's in Numbers 21 if I'm not mistaken. But I'll double check that to make sure so y'all can read that so you can see it for yourself. It says, Then beware lest thou forget Yahuwah, which brought thee forth out of the land of Mizraim from the house of bondage. Thou shalt fear Yahuwah thy Elohim and serve him, and shalt swear by his name. You shall not go after other gods of the people which are round about you. This is the reason why, because this is what Ahab did. He went after the gods of Jezebel, because that's who he was around. You know, you end up becoming like the people you spend the most time with. If you're around people who are idolaters, you will become an idolater. If you're around, you know, people take this. If you want to be a millionaire, then hang out with millionaires. You want to be righteous, then hang out with righteous people. You want to be a sinner, then hang with sinners. That's what's going to happen. This is why he tell you, evil communications corrupt good manners. This is the type of stuff that in the world people say, but when it comes to the word, we act like we don't know what it means. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's just what it is. And people usually gravitate to like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? You're usually going to be around people who think like you. Usually people are going to be around people who act like you, who share the same core values as you. You know what I'm saying? And this is who you end up being friends with. You would think that 99.9% of the time that this is who you would choose a mate with. Someone who thinks like you. Someone who shares the same values as you. You think that's what you would choose. You know what I'm saying? But we see with Ahab, what did he choose? He chose an idolater. Why did he choose an idolater? Because he was an idolater. So of course that's what he's going to choose. He didn't have any love for Yah because he's Omri's son. What did Omri teach him? Y'all should remember these people's names when we mention them because we've been looking at them. What did Omri teach Ahab? The ways of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, to worship golden calves and worship idols. So what else was Ahab going to do? Ahab wasn't a righteous and upright man. If he was, he would have rejected Jezebel from the jump street. He would have never even pursued that. That wouldn't even tickle his fancy. Say, for Yahuwah the Elohim is a jealous Elohim among you, lest the anger of Yahuwah the Elohim be kindled against thee, and destroy thee off from the face of the earth. Ye shall not tempt Yahuwah your Elohim, as you tempted him and Massa. Now, when you look at the word tempt in this verse, it is Nasa, and that is the test, to try, or to put to the proof, or to prove, to make Yah show that he's Yah. So you'll never need to tempt Yah. See, that's what that woman did, and see, that's the certain stuff we like to do. See, we like to tempt the man, try the man, to see if he show forth that he is who he say he is. Hello?
Yeah.
How you doing, Jim? That's not cool. You know what I'm saying? And that tempting with and Massa is when that's Exodus chapter 17. For y'all that want to go look it up, read it for yourself. That's when they tried him about water. When they were asking him to prove him could he give them water. That's what that means, to tempt him, to try him. Come over here to Matthew chapter 4. To prove that Yah will come through and save, or come through and deliver, or that he's a man of his word, as if he needs to do anything of that nature. So you want to make sure you don't fall in that trap. This is why the master said what he said right here in Matthew chapter 4. 4 and 5. And after that, 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And it says, then the devil take him up into the Kadesh city, and set him on the pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, if thou be the son of Elohim, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his malachim charge concerning, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against a stone. Yahushua said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt Yahuwah thy Elohim. Now this is Psalms 91 that the adversary is quoting to the master, by telling him if he jump off this building, that malachim will catch him and not let him die. To prove that if you the son of Elohim, let me see if Yah will save you. See, when you ever heard a preacher that like let snakes bite them, or do some of all that crazy stuff that people be doing, that's tempting Yah. And people wonder why these people die. Oh, if he was a God, why he ain't save him? Why he ain't do this? Because they trying me like I'm a sucker. I'm not finna say that nigga, let him die. If he knew my word, he wouldn't even try me like that. Like he got me out here like I'm some type of minstrel show. Like I'm here for your entertainment or for your amusement. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. And I want y'all to just say that, to keep that in mind when people say stuff to you. Well, if your God, if he real, why he don't do this? And why don't he do that? And that when you tell us, you go ask him yourself, nigga, and ask him why he don't do it, nigga. I can't speak for that man. You know what I'm saying? You have to have enough wisdom to know when people are just being wicked and they tempting you or they trying you. You know what I'm saying? Let them do it. I ain't got to prove nothing to you, nigga. And y'all ain't got to prove nothing to you either. And if you say you are serving to Yah and you believe in Yah and you trust in Yah, why does he have to prove anything to you? This is why when they told him, give us a sign and we'll believe you. And he said, a wicked and adulterous generation seek after a sign and shall not receive one. Except for the sign of the prophet Jonah. Because you know what I'm talking about? You ain't getting one because you want something to prove. You just want that man to do something miraculous, so to speak, to prove that he real, and then you follow. I mean, you don't believe in him. He's not finna do that. That man don't operate like that. This man's not a genie. You just rub him and he just do what you want him to do when you want him to do it. That's how we done took this man and made him. Like he just grant wishes at your request. Like he got to prove to you he real. You can't look out the door and see it. You can't look at how you're constructed and you can't see it. Oh, there's many numerous ways. But I digress. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. 1 Corinthians 10 and 6. Make it 5. But with many of them Elohim was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our examples, to the intent we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Neither be ye idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink, and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000. Neither let us tempt Mashiach, as some of them also tempted, and were destroyed of serpents. See, they tried that man at Massa and Meribah, and that man let the serpent bite him. This is why Moses had to put the brazen serpent on the pole, and everybody who looked upon it got healed. And that's what we've been doing. That's why he had to put the master up on the stake, because y'all been trying the man and tempting the man, and you've been bit by sin, just like your forefathers were bit. You know, so we have to pay attention to that. You don't need to be trying this man or proving this man to do anything. Oh, y'all, if you do this here, I'll do this. He's not going to do nothing. Definitely don't do things the way you feel like he told him to jump off a building. Yah will save me. No, you're going to hit the ground and you're going to die. That's what's going to happen. Don't stick your hands in snakes talking about I can be bit by scorpions and I will not die. No, you're going to die. You're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? He told you not to do that. Don't try him. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like, oh, well, you need to give me some water and some food and some shelter. If you already know the covenant of your Elohim, the same covenant he swore to your fathers, he already had made reference that he would supply you with those things. So there would be no, that's one of the reasons why he say, don't take no thought for your life. Your forefathers didn't take no thought for their life. He had already told them that he would do those things for them. They had no need to be concerned, no worried about it. It's in your law. You should know that. If you believe and trust your Elohim, you should know. Yeah, I've never seen the righteous forsaken begging bread. It's not going to let you be homeless. It's not going to let you be naked. But yet you don't believe any of those things. And you tempt him and try him and you test him to see if he'll do these things. And if he don't do them, then you don't really want to serve him with the same forth of effort that you may have served him for if you got it. Really show where your heart was at. 1 Kings chapter 21. Unfortunately, a lot of people do that. If you had to be butt naked and homeless, does that determine how hard you're going to serve your Elohim? Or would you continue serving him? Because you got men in this book who were broke, destitute, naked, wandered, had no certain dwelling place in any of that. That didn't stop them. That didn't stop them. That did not stop them. Just a little test of your character. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. 1 Kings chapter 21. Where we at? Verse 8 is where we be. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city dwelling with Naboth. She wrote in a letter saying, proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, thou did blaspheme Elohim and Amalek, and then carry him out and stone him, that he may die. And the men of this city, even the elders and the nobles who were inhabitants in this city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. Then they proclaimed a fast and set Naboth high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying Naboth did blaspheme Elohim and the king, and they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stone that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying Naboth is stoned and is dead. Now, what's the key thing you caught to how wicked Jezebel is, or how she was able to execute this plan? The way you could tell she knew just enough book to get this man killed. What y'all repeat that she knew just enough book to get this man killed? Anybody know how much book she knew just enough book to get this man killed? Because if you paying attention, she pulled.
She knew that she had to sign his name on there instead of hers.
She did that. That's one of them. She did one other thing though to really, really stamp that she knew if she didn't do that, that she wasn't going to be able to take him out. Hold on, I'm gonna read it again for you so y'all can try.
She got a witness.
Yeah, she got a witness. How many witnesses? How many witnesses did she get? You know how many witnesses did she get?
She got 2 witnesses. Sound like it was 2.
She got 2. And what does our law say about how many witnesses you got to have?
2 to 3.
2 to 3. So this is how evil this woman was as she sat down and she concocted this plan. She made sure that she got the right amount of people to know, because she knowing that she can't get this man killed without 2 witnesses. She know full well that ain't none of our people gonna take this man out. Say under 2 or 3 witnesses shall the man be punished. If there's not 2 or 3 witnesses, she can't do nothing with this. That's how evil she was and what she did. Come on back to oh no, we never left. That's what I got at 2 Kings 9 is a little different. But that's why I want you to pay attention how subtly and how evil that was. Now you know she got her 2 men of